Good evening. Tonight we will discuss a wide range of specific technology tools for global and virtual teams. This is the last lecture about technology. This is the third lecture on technology. Our first was on general principles for using technology tools. The second, we went over the CISSE case study. We looked at text analytics and did a demo of that. We installed Join Me, and we also previously installed Blackboard Collaborate. We went over how to use discussion boards on Blackboard, how to use online libraries, how to use Skype and Drupal. And tonight we cover a large number of technology choices. We won't cover all choices, but even so, the lecture is very long and we must move through it at a fairly quick pace. We separate the tools into categories and then look at specific vendor offerings in each category. We'll also take a look at the differences between certain types of tools: webcasting, web conferencing, and video conferencing. So this is Lecture 9. As I mentioned during our last lecture, Lecture 8, which was face-to-face, we went over the categories of collaboration tools, the case study, and we did a demo of text analytics. Tonight, Lecture 9, we're going to go over web conferencing tools. We're going to go over forums, wikis, and blogs. We're going to go over technology for managing email, and we're going to go over collaboration platforms and also integrated collaboration environments. So we have discussed in this course that the distributed nature of knowledge makes an organization that can tap into distributed knowledge more competitive than those that cannot. The rise of the knowledge economy has resulted in fundamental changes in organizational structure, and global virtual teams are one result. Global virtual teams tap into distributed knowledge. Distance, time, and culture are adverse factors that impact the global team. We have discussed business communication principles and cultural mitigations. At its heart, though, a global virtual team is a technology-mediated collaboration. And one of the most complex technologies is web conferencing. A web conferencing is a synchronous collaboration tool that enables multiple participants who are connected to the web to take part in a real-time conference. It offers a less expensive alternative to travel for face-to-face meetings. Standard functionality for web conferencing includes the ability of all participants to see the same screen simultaneously, a whiteboard for sharing ideas, and the ability to assign and reassign presenters who can share applications and their desktops. And in other words, present those artifacts to other participants. Web conferencing is the tool of choice for work that requires complex collaboration. Is it mandatory? Not really. But it is an advantage if you can afford it and everybody can run the clients. Remember that synchronous technology requires all members to participate at the same time. And synchronous technologies are appropriate for events or situations that require a high degree of collaboration. Other functionality that is often included in web conferencing is the ability to co-browse the web or jointly have all participants see the same web pages at the same time with automatic synchronization of states and frames. You have integrated chat, the ability to record sessions, the ability to schedule meetings, to publish reports on the attributes of the meetings. You have security features in web conferencing, and you have support for a variety of audio options, most of the time voice over IP, and then different types of teleconferencing options. Web conferencing is particularly good for problem solving and innovation, generating the big idea. With web conferencing, teams log on to the same website. Users share screen. They have shared screen technology. Any participant can be given control, and other users can see their desktop. In choosing the type of web conferencing solution, your needs are the most important factor. You may not need all the features offered by leading vendors, so do your own requirement solicitation to identify essential and optional features. Web conferencing began as whiteboard sharing in web browsers with chat, and they usually had in the past a separate teleconference capability. They added screen sharing, window sharing, application sharing, synchronized web surfing, video presence, voice over IP, recently integrated teleconferencing and recording. This software is becoming more user-friendly and less costly with more functionality. In this section, we'll review some of the leading web conferencing software. And we're going to look at feature comparisons of the dozens of web conference offerings that can be found at these locations: Wikipedia, webconferencing.org, G2 Crowd Collaboration, Capterra, and of course there's other sites. The software costs approximately $60 per month for most of the offerings, and you can get several of them free for small parties. So let's take a look at Wikipedia as an example. So with Wikipedia, you've got a whole list of web conferencing. The major ones have links to their sites. AT&T Connect, of course, is one of the majors. Cisco WebEx, Citrix, GoToMeeting, Fuse is another major one. Intercall Unified Meeting is one, Microsoft Link. So you can see all their features, Skype, of course. And you can see the simultaneous number of user capabilities, what operating systems they work on, their audio and video capabilities, chat support, and just all the different features you might be interested in. You can look at for literally 24 different packages that are compared on Wikipedia. We'll look at another one here, which is the webconferencing.org. And they have free reports and white papers that you can download. They also have sections of their site that they go into reviews. So you've got like Adobe Connect review. Adobe Connect is one of the leaders. Cisco WebEx, Citrix GoToMeeting. They have featured articles. So a lot of information on web conferencing technology at webconferencing.org. Take a look at G2 Crowd collaboration. So G2 Crowd web conferencing also provides that type of comparison. It gives a Gartner-like quadrant where it evaluates, where it places the various packages it has evaluated. It likes Skype, it likes GoToMeeting, Join Me are all in their top quadrant. Of course, we're using Blackboard, and we'll be testing Join Me in a few lectures. Google Hangouts is a major player. So you can see at a glance which packages really are considered the leaders. They go into satisfaction scores with all the various packages. And of course, like webconferencing.org, they've got a lot of articles and links to articles at this site. So another good source of information about web conferencing technology. And the last website we'll look at is Capterra. So here's Capterra, and again, it's a site that has a lot of information on the various web conferencing tools and collaboration tools. It rates some of the best collaboration products that are out there. Gives you a lot of new ones that they are reviewing. Of course, some of the classics like WebEx and GoToMeeting, but a lot of the newer ones as well. So again, another source of information on researching collaboration and especially web conferencing tools. So I put those out there, and of course they're in your PDF that's on Blackboard Collaborate in our document repository, and all you have to do is click on the links. You see them here in gray with an underline, and it'll give you a place to at least begin your search at work for information, detailed information and analysis on web conferencing tools. Okay, Strom categorized web conferencing offerings into 4 usage scenarios. Remember, these are categories of business need. They're not the functionality limits of the tool per se. Most web conferencing tools have a robust complement of functionality, but the tools listed here are the ones that best fulfill the categorical need. So category 1 is ad hoc, simple desktop collaboration with a single presenter. And the 2 that excel best there are Join.me, and again that's one we're going to test next week, and Cisco WebEx. They excel because they're very easy to set up. The second category is workgroup collaboration with multiple presenters who need to control a shared desktop. All products do well in this category. each of them excelling in one functional area or another. The third category is a recording and playback of web conference content. Adobe Connect is the best at this. And then the fourth category is large-scale webinar or large-scale presentation. Here, Adobe Connect and Citrix GoToWebinar are the best choices. So, what would a global virtual team use? The most likely usage scenario is workgroup collaboration. All vendors are capable in this sweet spot of the market. Global virtual teams will be small and have limited need for large-scale webinars or recording and playback. Additionally, multiple presenters will need to control meetings from the various locations. The most likely scenario for global virtual teams is Strong's workgroup collaboration with multiple presenters who need to control a shared desktop. As you would expect, all vendors can do the work for global virtual teams and the work that global virtual teams need to do, because that's the largest potential market. Some have better functionality in certain areas, others in other areas. Your company will probably have done the trade-off analysis and selected the most appropriate tool. There is another categorization for web conferencing, and it's a continuum really of video conferencing through web conferencing through webcasting. Each has a different focus and functional emphasis. So let's take a look at the differences. Let's look at first the difference between video conferencing and web conferencing.
I'm Simon Dudley, video evangelist for Lifesize. I've been asked to talk about the differences between web conferencing and video conferencing. I want people to understand they are actually fundamentally different technologies. Web conferencing is about disseminating large amounts of data to a large group of people, but it isn't about getting feedback and them understanding what you have to say. Video conferencing, on the other hand, is all about the human connection. It's all about the whites of the eyes. It's all about understanding that the person you're communicating with is truly understanding what you have to say to them. It is the look through a window quality experience, the meeting without physically traveling there. No one ever said that a webinar was as good as physically meeting, but video conferencing can get that good. So to understand, web conferencing, dissemination of data to a group, video conferencing, communication between individuals. I hope that helps you understand the fundamental changes and differences between these two technologies.
Okay, so what we've been doing in the class is web conferencing. We have massive amounts of data that we have to disseminate to a relatively large group, and that's going to be different than video conferencing, which is a more interactive, conversational, one-on-one or one to a small group meeting that has video and audio augmentation over distance and time. Web conferencing is what we've been doing here. You've probably been using Skype in your group project, and that, of course, can scale down to web conferencing. Scaling up from web conferencing is webcasting. That's even less interaction. I mean, with our class, there is interaction. People can speak up and we can have a conversation with voice over IP along with the video and the shared whiteboard, or we can chat during the class. With webcasting, there's even less of that. It's really optimized for dissemination to large groups. So let's take a look at webcasting next.
Hey everyone, Ari from Canopto here with Eric Burns, and today we're going to talk about the differences between web conferencing and webcasting. Eric, these are terms that today are used interchangeably, even though the software is actually quite different. So at a high level, what are the differences between web conferencing and webcasting solutions?
First, it's important to remember that they share the same basic to allow people with geographic distribution to communicate with each other. But there are 5 big differences between the two technologies. The first is just accessibility. It's how easy it is to participate in this. So with a webcasting system, typically you can view webcasts in your browser without any client software. On the other hand, for a web conference, you might actually have to download a client application, wait for it to install, ensure that your operating system is compatible with webcast client software, and so on. So there are a bit more barriers to entry. Second, with a webcast, it's typically access through just a single URL sent to all participants. But there can be multiple ways to attend the webcast. So, for example, you can have a URL that installs client software that you can dial into your phone. If you do dial into your phone, you have multiple phone numbers for different area codes or regions, and it can get a bit more complicated than just one. The second big difference is the size of the audience. You can reach a fairly small audience with web conferencing, and an even smaller audience from your sort of stated limits if you add video chat as well. On the other hand, a webcasting system can reach worldwide audiences of millions of users. So there's a very big difference in scale, the number of attendees. The third big difference is sort of related to this interactivity. To get to larger audience sizes, you tend to introduce a bit of latency and use things like caching and video compression. And so when you have a low latency system like web conferencing, you can have a lot more interactivity. You and I can have a dialogue, we can share our screens in real time, and we can do things that are much more immediate. It's like being with a webcast, there's a bit of a delay, and so you're more of a passive. The fourth big difference between the two is the quality of the recording, the quality of the video. For example, with GoToMeeting's HD Faces, you can have a 720p high-def video between 2 participants, 2 attendees. On the other hand, if you want to add more viewers, more participants, they want to show their webcam, suddenly you're down to 640p. You're down to standard definition video. So your quality as you raise your audience size is going to drop pretty dramatically. With webcasting, there's no quality drop as you raise your audience size. You simply start with a high definition video and you bring it to more viewers. There's a big difference in recording as well. Webcasting systems tend to record just the audio and the script. Canopto records all of the different streams of data: the video of the presenter, the video of the document camera, an image of their screen, the PowerPoint slides, and so on. And so if you want the sort of comprehensive high-definition recording, webcasting recording, web conferencing recording tends not to be the right solution. Finally, there are some differences between the two in terms of how you can bring in the user experience. With a lot of the webcasting, web conferencing systems, you tend to be able to brand things like the sign-up page or the sort of landing page, but not the whole user experience. On the other hand, with a webcasting system like Canopto, you can actually pick brand colors and brand images for the final viewer experience as they're watching the webcast.
Thank you. You mentioned the resolution constraints of web conferencing systems during the actual meeting itself. When you're talking about a webcasting system, what kind of resolution and frame rate are we talking about for the video and the screen share?
For webcasting, you should expect to be able to achieve broadcast quality video for both the presenter's video and for the screen content. There should really be no upper bounds in the quality of video you can capture because you're essentially just compressing.
Okay, so there are 5 differences between web conferencing and webcasting. For someone who's planning an upcoming event, what's the easiest way for them to figure out, do I want web conferencing or do I want webcasting?
There are two simple questions that you can ask to help guide you in that direction. The first is this a meeting or is it a presentation? So a presentation is one person addressing many people, and typically the audience is a bit more passive. They're there to consume information. They're not having a dialogue with the person. On the other hand, if it's a meeting, each participant is, in a sense, a peer in that meeting. All of them should be able to contribute their video or their voice and have a dialogue in real time with the presenter. The second question that you want to ask is how many people will participate? And participate in this case means attend. So if you have a small number of people who are viewing, whether they're active or passive, you can get away with a web conference. On the other hand, if your audience size is very large, if you go beyond 500 or 1,000, you must use webcasting because that's the only way to reach an audience that size.
So the two technologies are used primarily for different purposes today. Are there any scenarios where it makes sense to use them together?
Definitely. Web conferencing and webcasting are actually complementary technologies, and they serve different purposes, but can meet together for example, recording a web conference in HD. So I do a lot of web conferences using WebView, where I need to share my screen and to talk to some participants. And whenever I do this, I always record it with Canopta, so I have a great recorder that captures my camera in high definition, captures my screen, captures my slides, and does the searching. This is more recording value that I can get with just the web conference system alone. The second way that the two technologies can work together is to rebroadcast or relay a web conference from a small number of people who are meeting to a large number of people who are attending. So in the same situation, if I were having a meeting with others in GoToMeeting, I could record that with Canopta, and then I could live stream that to a large group of viewers who wouldn't need to install anything and could watch my meeting remotely without participating.
Makes sense. All right, Eric, thanks for the quick overview of web conferencing versus webcasting. For more information on a great webcasting solution, check out Canopta.com or give us a call at 855-CANOPTA. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Art.
Hey, everyone. Ari.
Okay, so webcasting is a set of products that scale. They scale without losing video quality. They provide a better capture of a lot of different streams, but they're really designed for pushing information out to a passive audience of consumers. And as these gentlemen mentioned in the video, you can use a web conferencing technology and webcasting technology in a complementary manner, have a web conferencing, use the advantages of that software for your small meeting of maybe 10 people, and then that's going to be highly interactive. People will be talking, they'll be chatting back and forth, but you can then at the same time capture that web conference with a webcasting tool and live stream it to a much larger audience. So very interesting. I think for virtual teams, web conferencing is probably the tool that they would be using most of the time. So let's start looking and taking a look at specific products. Adobe Connect is a full-featured web conferencing tool. As we saw in the comparisons we just linked to on Wikipedia and webconferencing.org and Capterra, Adobe Connect is scalable and it can be used up through web seminars that have large audiences. Connect is robust, and of course it can support large conferences with substantial reporting capabilities on the conference. It is more difficult to set up, so it may not be effective for small ad hoc conference needs. So that's one of the things you want to look at. The tools we're looking at, Blackboard, Join.me, are very easy to set up. Adobe Connect, it scales well, but it's not quite as easy to set up. It offers comprehensive reporting on meeting usage, audience engagement, and training activities that are relevant for e-learning work, for example. It has the most complete features for recording and archiving meeting content. It has limited audio offerings. You can use the built-in audio on your device, your PC or smartphone, or you can purchase at extra cost an external teleconferencing service. Mobile clients do have a consistent look and feel as the desktop clients. Connect is one of the more expensive offerings. That's probably one of the other comparisons that you need to look at between web conferencing and the scalable, more scalable webcasting. So Adobe Connect has an on-premise version. They've got the on-demand, which is you start with your Adobe Flash player software and an internet connection, and Adobe manages everything for you. You've got on-premise where you deploy it behind your firewall and you manage it, and that may be a mandatory policy for you or your clients, especially if they're government clients. And then they've got a managed services where they take care of installation, upgrading, and management while the organization maintains complete control and has the full security options. There's, of course, advantages and disadvantages to on-premise installations. Advantages are that your organization is in control of the web conferencing software and, more importantly, the data. The perception of better security is there, especially for your executive staff, and that's always a concern they have. The disadvantages are the organization must provision and administer the hardware and software, and the organization must provide for disaster recovery. Your company policies, however, may require on-premise solutions. Okay, let's look at a video of Adobe Connect.
Adobe Connect is being used by large enterprises primarily to reach out to their customers, to their partners, and to their employees who are distributed around the world. It also allows marketers to have webinars. It allows training professionals to deliver rich, engaging training online.
This is the Pantone Color Bridge.
Training is a huge part of Xerox. And now that we have Adobe Connect, we have rapid e-content. We can reach people in Turkey, in Russia, in New York, in China, in Canada.
Looks like we're scattered about the country this afternoon.
You give them a 5-minute tour at the beginning of a virtual classroom session, and they are now familiar with and able to use Adobe Connect in seconds.
There's a lot of tools that Adobe has created to really revolutionize the way people engage with ideas and information. And that applies to our meetings too. It allows us to add features that I haven't seen in any other product. We're thrilled to have the recognition we're getting from PC Magazine, from Forrester. The types of things that they're saying about our product really encourage us to innovate even further. We're trying to make sure that the mobile experience is as good as the one that you're getting on a PC.
We see a great potential with the possibility of linking into the meeting rooms through mobile devices. People are always on the run, and it gives them the opportunity to actually join these sessions wherever they are.
The beauty of our system is that it looks the same on all platforms. You can use the Adobe Connect mobile client on your iPad, on your iPhone, on your BlackBerry Playbook, or any Android device. Another major thing we've added is the ability to actually host a meeting from your mobile client. One of the most amazing things about our product is the persistence of the meeting rooms. Adobe Connect allows me to create my personal meeting room. That means that I can use it anytime I want. I can have a custom URL so I can invite people to it. In fact, I have the URL to my meeting room on my business card. Our meeting rooms are always on, they stay exactly as you left it, and you can use them as often as you like. Another huge benefit of Adobe Connect is the type of engagement you can have. We allow such rich content to be displayed, everything from the animations in PowerPoint through to rich high-definition video, whether it's being played as a pre-recorded video or it's live web cameras.
Visual content is actually very important for us. So Adobe Connect gave us a really strong platform that allowed us to share multimedia and allowed people to actually watch really high quality video.
A lot of times people can't attend a live meeting, so what they need to be able to do is to watch the recording, but instead of just having a video recording of the meeting, Adobe allows you to actually interact with the recording, to do things like click on links, download files, copy and paste the text that was available. Adobe Connect is an open architecture that allows us to integrate with virtually all the infrastructure that's already in place within an organization. That reduces the amount of support required by IT. The open architecture allows us to integrate with learning management solutions, CRM systems, or even LDAP and single sign-on systems. Showing the IT manager that Adobe Connect ties in with their existing systems allows them to breathe easier, to not have as much work and not as much technical difficulty.
Connect from a support and deployment standpoint is probably the simplest application that I've actually been able to use.
One of the things that people love about our product is that it's incredibly secure. We offer a number of ways that you can ensure that people are authorized to get into meetings. These are really critical for organizations like the DoD. Using Adobe Connect in something they call DCO or Defense Connect Online, their information and their IP is the most important thing to them. They need it to be secure. We're looking forward to creating even more exciting aspects to online meetings, to solving even more of our customers' problems, to allow them to be even more productive with our product.
It has been one of the most rapid adoptions that we've seen of any technology platform that we've put in place.
The ability to go live globally, where you can touch the entire workforce within the same period of time, rather than have a lot of logistics that you have to work through, it's a game changer.
Even though we've got the best product in the industry, we're not stopping. There's more we can do.
Okay, of course, as we mentioned, Adobe Connect is one of the leading solutions, and we saw why there. Of course, it's fairly difficult to set up, but you do get a lot of powerful, robust, reliable, and stable technology if in the bargain there. So what about Cisco WebEx? That's one of the major contenders also. It's easy to set up, but it's not as scalable as Adobe Connect. But on the other hand, Adobe Connect is difficult to set up. So with Cisco WebEx, you have easy meeting setup. It's easy to attach files and provision each participant. Easy to record and archive meetings. You have mobile clients that have different user interfaces, and you cannot send live video to them. So that's where they're not nearly as good as Adobe Connect. It needs Java for your web browser because that is what controls the meetings. It's less expensive than Adobe Connect, less expensive than Citrix GoToMeeting, and less expensive than Intercall Unified Meeting. It's cost competitive with LogMeIn's Join.me, Microsoft Link, which is being supplanted by Skype now that Microsoft bought Skype, and View. And it does offer a free version for small groups where you've got less than 3 participants. So like Adobe Connect, Cisco also has on-premise, and here is a capture of their website on this topic. If that's an issue with your organization, Cisco does provide on-premise capability. So Cisco has a very different look and feel than most products. So let's take a look at Cisco WebEx from their marketing viewpoint.
Hey there everyone, Dave Walker, your Connect Guru, with another episode for your consideration. A few years ago, I did a comparison between Adobe Connect and WebEx, but since then both products have changed substantially, so I thought it would be good to revisit the subject. The first thing I'll say is that there are many features that both products handle well, so I'm only going to focus on those features that make one different from the other. The first difference is that WebEx uses Java as the client software, while Connect uses Flash. Java is about twice the size of Flash, so it does take a little longer to download and install if you don't already have it. Both of these clients have been in the news lately for being the mechanism for hackers attacking desktop systems. I will say that I think Adobe's been more responsive in addressing those vulnerabilities than developers of Java. But if you have a preference between these two programs, that will figure into your choice of online meeting solution. Moving on, WebEx is built around the model of when you are having your meeting, whether you're scheduling it for later or having it right now. Each time you want to have a meeting, you return to the WebEx site and either schedule a meeting or click the Meet Now button. To be fair, there is a WebEx assistant for Windows which will shortcut that need to go to the website and let you start or schedule your meeting right from the desktop. When your meeting's over, it's moved to the Recent tab. And if we go there and click it, we can see details about the meeting room, but there's no way to use that meeting room again. So a WebEx meeting room is for one-time use only. You can't open it back up to review chat comments or anything else, much less have another meeting in it. Adobe Connect is built on a very different model. You create your Connect meeting rooms, and then they can be used anytime, over and over again, regardless of when you actually schedule a meeting in them. So you can create a meeting room for use tomorrow, but you can have meetings in it today, and next week, and the week after that. A Connect meeting room is like an object. It resembles a physical thing that you can move and store and reuse. In fact, when we look at our meeting rooms in our Connect account, we say we're looking at the meeting library. Each Connect meeting room has its own URL. And that's how you get into a Connect meeting room. How about inviting people to attend your meeting? Both solutions can email invitations to the attendees. I have to say that the email that WebEx sends has a nice format. It's very easy to read, with the message broken into sections and peppered with colorful icons. However, the only part of this message that's editable by the meeting host is the agenda. Everything else is locked in by WebEx. The email message sent by Adobe Connect is plain text. No colorful icons or buttons. Unlike WebEx though, Connect allows you to edit the entire message, including the subject text. WebEx doesn't let you see the meeting URL in your email. It's hidden by the Join button. That makes sense with WebEx, since the meeting URL is about 40 miles long and was not designed for entering manually. Here's an example. So you should never ask someone to type it into the browser address, even if they could see it on the screen. However, there's another way to get into a WebEx meeting. Each WebEx meeting has a number. It's a 9-digit social security size number that you can use to enter the meeting by going to the WebEx website and clicking the Attend a Meeting button and entering the meeting number. This is a lot easier for the end user than typing in the URL, even though I still wouldn't call it intuitive. Then you either enter your name and email address or sign in to WebEx if you have an account. I think, all things considered, I prefer the Adobe Connect custom URL methodology over the WebEx meeting method. A Connect URL looks like this. So it's much easier to have someone join your meeting even when you don't have that person's email address. This is also much better from a marketing standpoint because you get your company name embedded in a simple URL. The user doesn't have to go to any other website to enter the meeting identifier. When they type the URL into the browser address, they land on your branded login page and either enter their name to log into the guest or sign in with their email address and password if they have a user ID on their Connect account. One caveat to mention about this. The custom domain URL for your Connect account is only available if you purchase the enterprise version from an Adobe Connect partner. If you buy Connect as a monthly subscription on the Adobe website, you won't have this option. Intisolve is one of those Adobe partners, so contact us for more information on this. Why is having a simple URL such a big deal? Well, let me give you a scenario. You're on a call with a prospect who complains that he can't get a particular feature of your software to work. With Connect, you simply say, "Hey Joe, join me in my Connect meeting room. Just go to mycompany.adobeconnect.com/Jim." And before you know it, you're in the meeting with your client. You didn't have to go to the Adobe Connect website and create a new meeting. You didn't have to know your client's email address. You didn't have to send an email and wait for it to arrive. In fact, since you'll typically use the same meeting room for all of your tech support meetings, your client can even create a shortcut or favorite for that URL so they can get back into the meeting room at any time they need your help. And you can create custom URLs for all of your Connect meeting rooms. Okay, so that highlights a couple of differences between Connect and WebEx. I'll continue to investigate this in the coming weeks. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to be advised of our next video, and use the info on the screen to contact me.
Okay, Citrix is another popular package. It's noted for its remote control and access software, but it also has several offerings for the different web conferencing categories of usage, from GoToMeeting through GoToWebinar. GoToMeeting is for smaller work groups. Citrix offers GoToWebinar for large-scale conferences. It's easy to set up a meeting once the desktop client is installed. There is no web client. You must therefore download and install a desktop client. So that's a little less flexible than some of the other offerings in web conferencing. Recordings are saved to the host participant's local hard drive. So they must take a second step to share those recordings with other members by uploading them to a cloud or a common repository that everybody can get to. Same thing for chat logs. In contrast, Adobe Connect and Cisco WebEx have the ability to easily store recordings in the cloud so that they're instantly shared. Citrix GoToMeeting is cost competitive with Adobe Connect and Intercall Unified Meeting, but it's more expensive than the rest of the web conferencing offerings. So it has no on-premise capabilities, so that's one drawback if your organization does require on-premise. Here's a chat I had with a sales rep where I asked them if they did have an on-presence capability, and they answered no, they did not. So that's if your client or your organization requires on-premise, GoToMeeting is not going to be a good solution. Another choice is Intercall Unified Meeting. It's better for smaller work groups, It's the least intuitive to set up, according to Strom. It has also a poor screen refresh rate. You need to download and install a desktop client to host a meeting. The host can share webcam, and it has a scheduling feature. It supports the standard audio options, the voice over IP, dial into a conference call, or the system calls you. It's cost competitive with Adobe Connect and Citrix GoToMeeting. It's much more expensive than the rest of them. For less cost, View and Join.me offer, I think, better small group conferencing. Interconnect does have on-premise. Okay, here's one that we'll try next week. LogMeIn's Join.me. It's better for smaller work groups. It has an effective user interface. Easy to set up meetings, easy to share desktops, easy to start a conversation. It doesn't offer archival records of meetings. You have to record those. It's a free service for computer audio only. That's the voice over IP or the internet calls. And it has limited meeting scheduling capability. You only have sharing of the entire screen and no swapping of presenters. And the meeting setup is done through a web client. There's a limit of 250 participants, and it's one of the most cost competitive offerings. JoinMe has enterprise versions that are not on-premise, but they have beefed up security for still a cloud-hosted solution. And it's close to on-premises, according to LogMeIn. Of course, it's not on-premise. Okay, in 2011, Microsoft purchased Skype, and all Skype technologies came to Microsoft as part of that purchase. At that time, Microsoft dropped its Windows Live Messenger, and it's building its collaboration future with Skype. If you'll remember, Skype is a top-rated web conferencing and video conferencing solution. So here is Microsoft's other offering, Lync. Lync is difficult to install. It may conflict with earlier versions of Microsoft Office. Likewise, there are reports of clients crashing when they use Lync. Lync 2013 is part of the Office 365 software as a service package, but there are older versions in the field, the Mac 2011 and the Mobile 2010 versions. Lync 2013 only works on Windows 7 or 8 PCs. It uses the spare tile interface that is not intuitive to everybody, and it's one of the more costly offerings, with the added requirement that the system participants register with Microsoft, and that means creating a Microsoft ID and password. Lync has trouble keeping PowerPoint slide presentations in sync, and web clients cannot be a presenter or load files into a shared meeting space. The future belongs to Skype, I think, not Lync. In fact, they've renamed everything as of December of 2014. There's no longer Link. Everything is called Skype for Business. And it's federating Link and Skype. Microsoft will be updating its Skype client software with codecs to support video integration between Skype and Link before the year 2015 is over. Federation just means that the two packages, or the packages that are involved in the federation, cooperate. In this case, Skype would do what it does best, which is video conferencing and web conferencing, and Link would do what it does best. And take your pick of the features you're interested in. Link does have on-premise, and as is typical with Microsoft, they have great planning tools. They help you organize and plan installations for web conferencing, and we'll go to a website that gives you an idea of that. Microsoft's always had great Microsoft project plans for doing installations of their software. In this case, they also have a separate planning tool. And so here you can go through the tool walkthrough. Shows you how to set up an overall architecture, a topology for your site. Goes through administrative reports and firewall reports and DNS reports to help you organize your effort to install a web conferencing tool. So this might be useful even for tools that are not Microsoft Link. Okay, Skype. We've gone over Skype in some detail, and we had a video on it, and I gave a demo of setting up a three-way conversation. So this is just a quick review of Skype. Skype is short for Sky peer-to-peer. It's for work groups and not large conferences. The free version is video chat. And then for $9.99 a month, it becomes a web conferencing tool also, with screen sharing for up to 10 people, group video calling, audio conferencing for up to 25 people, text messaging for up to 300 people. It doesn't offer session recording, and it was purchased by Microsoft and is now federating with Link. So Link is federated with Skype. And again, federated servers are managed independently, but they cooperate to serve a specific functionality. And such a cooperative group of servers is called a federation. And a federated tier can achieve better performance only if each business need goes to the member server best suited for it. So you have to have some mechanism to route what you set up on Skype versus what you set up on Link. View is another web conferencing solution. It's for smaller work groups and not large conferences. Very easy meeting setup. It has persistent meeting rooms, which participants can access over a period of days. It has user-friendly navigation of conference functionality, has comprehensive access controls, has integrated audio conferencing, integrated real-time chat. You can share your entire desktop or a region within it. You can switch presenters. It doesn't have a mobile client, and it's based on Flash. And the free version supports 5 concurrent users and 10 rooms for sharing documents. We see that View doesn't have mobile, and that's fairly important in our 24/7 world. And I know there's a number of you who have been attending class with the Blackboard Collaborate mobile client. Fuse is yet another web conferencing tool. It's easy to set up and to use. Supports a maximum of 250 participants in virtual meetings. Can support up to 12 concurrent video feeds. You can share the screen, or you can share a program. It has a set of markup tools for co-authoring documents or co-authoring videos. Participants can join from almost any web-connected device. You can record sessions. Cost ranges from free for 3 participants, which seems to be the magic number in all of these cases, to $20 per month for 20 users and 12 concurrent video feeds, and $40 a month for 250 users and 12 feeds. Okay, so we've taken a look at web conferencing, and we've looked at 9 tools in some level of detail to give you an idea of the market, what's out there, and also given you some sites where you can go and do a more thorough investigation and analysis. So right now, why don't we take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and begin our investigation of forums, wikis, and blogs. Thank you.